Okay, friends, we are going to be making some snowmen. You're going to be using curves with some chalk pastel to draw your snowman, and later on we're going to blend that into our paper. The blue paper is going to create the shadows on our snowman, and the white is going to create the highlights. So the first thing you want to do at the bottom of your paper, you want to go in about a quarter of the way on the paper, about right here, and put a little dot right at the bottom. So just a quarter of the way, not halfway, just about a quarter. Then you're going to come to this side of your paper, and you're going to come up about halfway, find the halfway point and put a little dot. So we have a quarter and a half. You're going to draw a rainbow curve that connects those two dots. So I'm going to come across, and I'm going to draw a curve now. This is the bottom of our snowman's body. And as you notice, my snowman's body gets smaller as it goes up. That's creating perspective. So what I want to do with the next curve is I want to make sure that it is smaller than my first curve. So I'm going to come off of this. It needs to touch this one so it overlaps. And I'm going to do another rainbow curve that comes around. Making sure, though, that I leave room at the top for my head. Okay, and then the last one is my head. I don't want to make it too small, friends, because it's a snowman. We want to draw a lot of detail. But if you want to, just go near the edge here. And then, like I said, another rainbow curve that's a little bit smaller. Okay, so we have those. We want to be careful not to rub our hands on them yet. Okay, because we're going to go in a certain direction to get this blended. Okay, so what I want to do first before I start to do the rubbing and blending is I want to go in and just thicken those lines and go over them a little more. So I'm going to go back and forth about 2 to 3 times. I can even come below that line a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to now blend this chalk pastel into my paper, and I'm going to use one finger, my pointer finger. Make sure it's kind of clean if you can. You're going to take it and you're going to rub in circular motions, but we don't want to rub up. We want to drag that pastel down until it's no longer moving. So if you have any extra little pastel dust, just kind of put it on your desk like that for now. Taking my finger, I'm going to just rub in circles to blend this into the paper, and I'm working my way down, not up. Go into this one. Great, friends, so now we have our snowman's body. How great does that look? I'm going to go in with a Sharpie now, but I want to be careful when I'm using that Sharpie today because I don't want to draw anywhere that I have chalk. The Sharpie will get ruined if you draw directly on the chalk. So I'm working on areas that don't have that. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw the arms for my snowman. So I'm going to come from the middle of the body. I'm going to do a curved line that looks like it's headed towards the corner of the paper. And then I'm going to do one on the other side. What I want to do is thicken the lower part of the arm. So I'm going to come out a little bit from that line. I'm going to draw a curve that then slowly goes into the first one. Using my Sharpie, I'm now going to fill that area in. I'm going to do the same thing over here, then fill it in. Okay. Alrighty, friends, if you want to give your snowman gloves or anything, you can, but I'm just going to give him some shorter little lines for stems coming off those tree branches we're using for his arms. I'm going to give my snowman some earmuffs, kind of like the one in this picture, but if you want to draw a hat or anything different, you can. Just try to stay away from the chalk too much. So I'm going to do a circle. And then another circle on this side, and then connect them with a curve. I'm now going to draw his eyes, and you can draw your eyes differently. I just kind of drew mine like little rectangles that look like they're moved down, like he's smiling. So I'm going to go in and just start out with a line first, and then kind of turn that into a rectangle that's filled in. I'm going to draw a sideways V with a curve, and then some short little lines in there. That's his nose, and then some little tiny dots that turn into a smile. All right, friends, so we will go ahead and we will, you know, add some color to those things later. I'm now gonna go in and I'm gonna skip the scarf area because it gets a little too close to the chalk, and this will not draw over the chalk very well. What I'm gonna do right now is the buttons, and if you're looking at my picture, the buttons get smaller as they go up the snowman to create space. So at the very bottom body, you want to think of any kind of shape you want to do for your button. I'm just gonna do circles. I'm gonna start with my first one being really big. And then I'm going to do 4 little filled in circles for the part of the button where your thread would go through or sew through. I'm going to come up and I'm going to do an even smaller shape from my first one. And then I'm going to do a third one, and that one is even smaller than that one. All right, friends, now what we're going to do is we are going to go in with some oil pastel to color this, add more detail. Remember, with oil pastel, it's a lot like chalk. You don't want to rub your hands on it too much, but it's really nice because it draws on top of chalk really well. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in and I am going to color my buttons. And remember, you want to outline your shapes before you fill them in, just with like you would with crayon. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do a little orange in my carrot. If you want your snowman blushing, you can take a little pink and do a little rosy cheeks. And I'm even going to go in, add some color in my All right, friends, the last thing I haven't drawn is this scarf. And the reason why we can't draw that is because with the Sharpie, it will ruin the Sharpie, the chalk pastel. So we're going to use an oil pastel to draw those things. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to follow the top curve here, where the top curve of your middle piece matches with your little piece. So this area here, where the head is, I'm just going to curve a color back and forth about 5 times till I get that line nice and thick. Now what I'm going to do is 2 pieces that hang down, like the part of the scarf that's hanging down. So I'm going to do back and forth about 5 times again on each side. Okay, after you've done that, you're going to pick a second color oil pastel, and you're going to go in and do a colored stripe pattern in your scarf to make some details. Awesome, friends. So there is our snowman. We're now going to go in and just do a couple little snowflakes. So just little circles for snowflakes. And remember, when you're drawing snowflakes, you want to create space. So we don't want to just put snowflakes in the background. We want to put snowflakes in the foreground or in front of the snowman. How am I going to make it look like there's snowflakes falling in front of the snowman? What can I do? Great, I'm going to want to draw some on his body too. And I'm being very careful while I'm touching that paper. I'm trying to hold it in clean areas.